Oh yeah, okay. Let me show you. You're gonna get my rant of stats, because I've had this pent up since I took this fecking class. So as you can tell, I did not like this class by the way I named it. Yeah, we have a bunch of classes to learn to say shh. It's all about the tone. You have to have enough sass and authority to do it. Can I even scroll with this? Oh. Uh, 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 Chapter 1. Descriptive statistics. Summary of important aspects of data set of collecting data, organizing the data, and presenting the data in charts of tables. Example, in group, 23,000 women, 99.99% that breathe of thoughts. I forgot I changed up the examples a little bit. But stay with me here. Inferential statistics, drawing conclusions or making inferences based on population or samples. Example, all women are queens. Cross-selection data. The data is collected at the same time or small differences in time. Number of houses built last year. Time series data. Data collected sequentially over time periods, focusing on certain groups, events, and objects. Hourly body temperature of a patient in a hospital. Variables. A characteristic of interested beings observed categorical. Hold on. Characteristic of interesting being observed categorical variable. Label or names used to categorize distinguish characteristics of the variables. Examples, gender, race, marital status. Do they have kids? Numericality. Blah, 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 blah. Ratio, scale, subsettings. Example, values, variance, stands, blah, blah, blah. This gibberish, which I still don't even understand. Examples, what is the probability he wins either A or B? Okay, so this is like how people do, like, if there's a 5% chance of this is how you do it. And look at this. That's not math. That's just bull. Pure BS. It's mockery of the English language is what that is. Yeah, it's literally all letters. Not a single number in there to be seen. Except maybe a 1. Excel. Okay, this was the only thing that I got out of this. Because I love me a good Excel sheet. Like, if a woman approached me and she said, "Do you want me to flash you or show you my Excel sheet to track my my monthly spendings?" I'm going, like, the hottest thing she could do in that moment was to show me the Excel sheet. Like, a good Excel sheet is a work of art. Like, seriously, why? I don't even know why people do drugs. Just make an Excel sheet tracking your income. It's so good. But yeah, it's just all these commands to do basically the stats for you. Literally all this gibberish there's literally software to just do it. Now that's me being a reasonable man. I like how I'm trying to say I'm not a nerd, as I literally just spent an hour drawing my cosplay of my OC for Star Wars, and then if I look behind me, I have a shelf of Lego Rock Raiders, a Warhammer army, a 1812 revolver, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 helmets, 90% of my Spartan suit right there, and 3 lightsabers. Did I miss anything else? Xbox controller, resin 3D printer, B1 battle droid head, impact grenade, yeah, there's that. Master Chief, my jacked abs. I think that last one cancels out a few things at least. Yeah, so this is me doing the coloring. Like, oh, so blue, like your blue, purple, this, and this. Oh, hold on. We need to look at something else. Hold on. We're going on another tangent. Because you want to know statistics even less favorable younger brother? Accounting. What did OBS go? Accounting only exists because some douchebag got his hands on a thesaurus and he made that his entire personality. That is the only reason accounting exists. Because, let's see if I can find an example of this. Can we enhance the image? Okay. This is the stupidest system I could possibly imagine to track money. Assets, liabilities, stockholder equity, other accounts, titles, financial investments in company, income statements, blah, 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 receive, expenses, net income, cash flow, blah, 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 borrowed land, revenue. Like, it is so bad. I hate it so much. And I tried to make sense of it with, pretty colors, because I love colors. If my pretty colors cannot explain something, that means it's broken. It doesn't work. ADHD in the stream is crazy. No, this isn't ADHD. This is rage. This is pure justified rage. Like, I have gone on full hour spiels in the car to myself, trying to prepare myself for this rant, and yet I'm blanking out right now. Probably because I'm super exhausted, but we'll push through it. My lecture on this. So, accounting sounds like a good thing, right? Because you want to balance your... because you want to balance your income. What's coming in, what's going out, track it, awesome. You know what to afford. Beautiful. That's what Excel sheets are for. It's good to track that stuff. Accounting somehow screws that up so royally bad that you have to get a fecking degree to understand half of what the fecking words are. Like, I took this class. I could not tell you anything about this besides the fundamental principle that they try to get is that you balance the sheet. So basically what happens on one end has to happen on the other end, except what it fecking doesn't. And there's so many examples of that where it breaks that rule, where it's not balanced. This isn't STEM. This is idiocracy. Like, a degree in underwater basket weaving would be 10 times more, usable than accounting. Hand to my heart, other hand raised to the heavens. I hope AI puts every accountant out of the job. I hope they end up on the street, and that when they're just on the streets doing coke off their nose, they're just, they have their little coke sheets. They're scratching it onto the walls. Just if I do 3 lines of coke, but Johnny owes me 4 lines of coke, how many cokes do I get to do on Tuesday? And then they just overdose. And then, someone comes and helps them and they clean up their lives and then they find Jesus. Happy ending in the end. But I really hope they hit I hope they hit every rock on the way to rock bottom. It is just... I hate accountants so much. I hate accounting. This could be so much easier if they just used the most simplest thing called English. Well, this is the problem with statistics too. They use oh, you have this scenario? Use the quadrilateral linear exponential equation. The what? Oh, you mean the most common denominator, the thing that happens the most. Or something like that. It's just, there's simple words that explain it, but they slap giant fecking words to it that mean other things in other types of math, by the way. So it's just frustrating. But accounting. Back to accounting. Hold on, let me snip this so I can... Exactly. They use fancy words when they don't have to. I know how to do this. Hold on, give me a second. I want to draw on this because I'm angry, so I'm gonna make a copy here. There we go. So get a load of this. So, in any fucking accounting system, you count your land. Why? In every account sheet, you track your land, the land you own. Like, this should just be in an entirely separate different thing. That's my biggest complaint that always threw me off. Because, like, it's like throwing random information in there to throw you off the entire time. It's really frustrating. Like this one, cash. Sometimes this made sense. Because it'd be like, oh, we need to buy a new fleet of semi trucks. Okay, so that's gonna cost us $400,000. Right there. Oh no, here's the other stupid thing. I messed that up. I'm just remembering this. You wanna know how you tell if something's negative in accounting, and only in accounting? If there's parentheses around it. They don't just use the negative sign. Why? Well, it's very simple. Because their mom didn't love them. Right? Like, just... You know what's even stupider? This, 1, 2. That doesn't even save you time. That adds an extra keystroke in there. As opposed to, I don't know, that. The universal math sign for removing. This is like I had the same rant when in high school. We went from this to this. Like, sure, this is simpler, but why did you teach us this? I get why we removed this later on, because later on you have, like, you have equations like that, and, you don't want to get confused. I get that. So why not just teach us with the dot? Okay, let me see if I can... Oh, yeah. Note payable. I took this class. I still don't even know what the feck note payable is, or common stock, or retained earnings. Because that doesn't mean what you think it does. I specifically remember, it does not mean what you think it means. You think, oh, that's what we get to keep after, going through all of this crap, but no, it doesn't mean that. What you get at the end is cash flow. That's what you actually have. Oh yeah, and then they have these stupid abbreviations like operational expenses, insurance expenses, flow expenses. But like, the acronyms are just so bad. Like, you want to see the only thing accountants did a good job at? This. Inflow, outflow. Easy. Simple to understand. Well, not necessarily, I think. Because, like, if you do it up here, that's very different visually than here. Because this is curved. I can see where you're going with for, like, little kids. I mean, like, if you teach it from the start, I think they'll understand. Heck, even if we just make it say, like... And you just make the dot really big. Like, I think that would be enough. Oh yeah, this section right here. This and these were my most consistent areas I got wrong. Because sometimes, get a load of this. In accounting, sometimes your expenses are actually incomes for some reason. Yeah, like if they're learning the math, like if you just make them associate the dot with multiplication right at the start, because I never really see kids confuse these two. You know, a T and a plus. I'm sure it happens, but like, you know, when someone points out like, hey, you're using math, now they're different. You might just have to tell them a few times, but I think they get... Yeah, right? Because it's an expense for the company. So basically, you know, actually no, here's an example right here. So it's an expense, but it's an income because land gains value with time. So technically, it's an income. But you spent 500,000, but you still count an income of 500,000. So technically, these cancel out, except when the land has earned money. Here's the stupid thing. We were supposed to calculate it earning money. But here's the thing. You don't earn that money until you fucking sell it. So why are you counting this money that doesn't exist yet in the page? You know why? Tax evasion. Probably. Well, actually, no. Tax evasion would be the opposite. Tax evasion would be you buy land, but you count it as a loss. And so you go over to Mr. Government, there's a little flag, and you're all sad because, oh no, like I have this plot of land, and well, actually no, you hide it. You hide it behind yourself. You don't see it. You know, you hold your hands out and you got tears in your eyes, saying, "Mr. Government, I need money because I lost and I'm a struggling business for," and you know, and the way you hide that is that you actually put that under someone else's name. Yeah, that's the thing. They expect to. But that's really idiotic to do because what happens is that artificially boosts your income. So, you think you have more money than you actually do because, well, no. The accountant, he's probably aware of it. But if you're dealing with someone who isn't the accountant, you'll be put in a situation where says, "Wow, we have this extra 500,000," and he doesn't see that's connected to an expense of 500,000. He's gonna think we can do more, and then bam, you're in debt, and then bam, you're in prison because you couldn't pay that, and then bam, you drop the soap, and then it's just a cycle. Unless you can get away with it. I mean, here's a crime I did relatively recently, and I'm still very proud of this one. So I was working at a convention in Washington. Not Gem State, that's Idaho. Spokane Convention. I forget what it's called. So let me show you the heist I pulled off. So here's our booth. We're right here. Here's my boss. And he tells me, "Hey, it's lunchtime," and he wants Chili's. I'm like, okay, Chili's is over here. But here is the building. Okay, this isn't to scale. So there's like quite a few rows here. And then right here is the entrance. So he sends me off, and I scurry down. Maybe stop and look at the anime girls. And then I go right back. And then I go down the escalators, and I leave. I go to Chili's. Oh my gosh, did I not tell the Chili's story on stream? Hold on, I need to silence the Minecraft story. Hold on. Silence Minecraft villager. I need to tell the Chili's drunk guy story. Okay, so I go to Chili's to pick up food that he's ordered. I walk in, and so I'm from Utah. I'm not used to seeing drunk people. It's very, very rare to see them in the wild. So it's more of like, it's kind of like seeing like a deer on the road for me, where it's like, oh, look, nature, beautiful. And this was quite similarly, I had a moment of awe in this moment. So, yeah, this is gonna be the Chili's interior Chili's map. Okay, so this is the dining area. This is the pickup area. So I infill right here. And there's this guy right here, plaster drunk right next to the bar. And he is just going at it at the waitress, who is trying to, like, very politely tell him to stuff it. And he's just not letting up. Like, just going, I can't remember exactly what it says, but he's just going on and on about her, complaining about, he's complaining about politics to her, but also trying to flirt in the same sentence. That's what I remember. And so I'm like, so I walk in. Now imagine this. You're drunk, you're harassing a waitress, and in walks a Star Wars rebel with a gun strapped to him. Yeah, that's probably what he thought. So in I walk, with a bandolier of cylinders, pouches, chest bared for the world to see, my amazing pecs, and a Luger pistol strapped to my thigh, and his brain. So keep in mind, there are cosplayers down here. Like, this place is full of cosplayers. He ignores all the other cosplayers, focuses on me, and goes, "Oh, you're a distributor. Nice." So he thinks I'm there to sell drugs now. He's like, "Oh, you got even heat on you. That's so cool." Well, he's saying there's more drugs. Like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just here to pick up my Chili's order." And the waitress, realizing I am now a distraction, takes the opportunity of what I just said, like, "Oh, you're here to pick up the order. What's the order?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm here to pick up an order from Michael." "Oh, right away." So she escapes to the back rooms, leaving me alone with Senior drunk off his toast man, and he really just keeps trying to talk to me. And I'm just like, mm-hmm. And being a drug dealer, Mr. Streamer. I have a weird history with drugs. I'm more of a drug buster than a drug dealer, really. I have found more stashes of drugs and either stolen from them or destroyed them than I think most people in their entire life. Probably more than most police officers, I feel sometimes. But hey, free stuff. Don't do drugs. But do steal drug dealers' lighters, because they get really cool ones. Because, like, doing drugs is like the whole thing, so they think, I'm going to expend, get a nice blowtorch, and then I come up and I find their stash and I steal it. I will not apologize for that, because I'm doing a service. I'm like Robin Hood. I steal from the drug addicts, and I keep it for myself to help them. Man, I should get a Nobel Prize. But anyway, so I'm in there, and eventually, this guy just gets his order after like 30 minutes. Because I think, I'll be honest, I overheard the chefs, they were stiffing this guy. They were like, they wanted him gone. At the same time, they wanted to piss him off. Because he was just causing a problem through everyone through this section of the restaurant. So he eventually stumbles off and, presumably into traffic, so he's a car. And so I sit down, and I'm waiting for my order. Waitress comes back out. She's incredibly nice. Like, honestly, 5 stars to the Chili's waitress. She was awesome. She's like, hey, we're sorry, that guy delayed us. Can you wait on the meal? I was like, oh yeah, I'm in no rush. Take your time. And then like every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, she would come out like, can we get you a drink? Is there anything you want? I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Like, but seriously, every 2 minutes, she was like, are you sure you don't want a drink? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I have a water bottle. I'm good. And then eventually she got it, and I get my Chili's order. And now here comes phase 2. So, drunk man disarmed. And now we go. Here's a problem. So we leave Chili's, cross the road, and we run into our next obstacle. That is security. Because security doesn't allow food in. So I have contraband. Things that will not allow me to get in there. Because Chili's has a very obvious smell. And they're going to no, I'm sneaking food in. And very obviously, you're not supposed to take food. They specifically say do not take food in. So, using my knowledge of vendoring, because vendors have this nice little secret entrance right over here in the back. So I'm like, oh, I have my vendor badge. I'll just go in and I'll use my vendor badge to get in, because you don't have to get checked when you're a vendor. So I'm going over here, and I sneak over, and I'm about to go right in and do a victory lap, and uh-oh, security guard number 3. And she is taking her job seriously, because I'm like, hey, I'm a vendor, can I get in? And she's shaking her head like, no, you gotta go in the normal way, even though all the other security guards before have let me go in this way. So, what do I do during this time of need? I do this for a few minutes. And then her back's turned. And Chili's is delivered day 1. Day 2. Because the Chili's story continues. I clear all this again. Okay, day 2. I leave the booth, go down, up here, over the stairs, around the Fiber First Legion, but maybe circle it a few times. Go back up through, check out the anime girls again, swing right back around, go and get the Chili's. I'm at the Chili's, no problem whatsoever, no drunk guy, and I get my Chili's. I'm heading back into the entrance, but uh-oh, what's this? They've upped security in the back section, where there are now 4 security guards standing in the vendor section. And so I'm like, okay, let me try. Maybe they'll let me in this time. I go, hey, I'm a vendor. Uh-oh, what is it again? Same mean old lady who does not want my good old boss to get his Chili's. And he's very sad because he doesn't have his Chili's yet. And so, what do? Well, very simply, I twirled, and they're not going away. Crud. Okay, so I have the Chili's. And what am I going to do? I could just call my boss and say, hey, send your kid to come get the Chili's. And I'll pass it off to him or something. But no, my ego has been hurt because she has denied me my rightful entrance. So what do I do instead? Well, I decide to take on Mr. Looks like he's dehydrated security guard at the main entrance. That's right, we're taking a bold straight forward. We're doing the grand approach. So, there's 2 security guys. This guy, very busy, has a bunch of people going in. So I'm like, okay, he's busy. This one guy probably wants to look like he's doing something. So I beeline it for the guy who doesn't look like he's busy. But before this, I miss a step. I take the Chili's. So I have a backpack. In the said backpack, or I'm not sure what it is. It's like a handheld device my cousin bought, thingy. And then there's the Chili's, which we're going to have to censor that because that's not allowed. But we have the Chili's bag. And then we had like a bag of something. So I take the Chili's and I stuff it all the way at the bottom. Then I take this and I take that and I put that there. And then I take the game console and I put that right on top. And I go right up to the security guy. I look him dead in the eye and I tell him I only have a a game. I only have my friend's Nintendo Switch in my bag. He opens it up, looks inside, and then says, "Okay, you can go in." And I almost asked him to check further because I'm like, "Are you is that all you're gonna do?" Like, no. I just walk in, feeling like my thunder's been taken. The sails aren't flapping as they were, and I walk in and I give him the chilies, and that's it. I was ready to, like, I don't know, maybe slip the guy a bribe or something, or like somehow charisma check my way inside, which I guess I technically did when I said all I have is a Nintendo Switch, and he believed me without checking the fact that there was very much far more things in the bag besides the game console. So, yeah. And that's how I broke the law, by sneaking chilies into a convention. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like a bad A sneaking in. The the first time when I snuck past that lady. Criminal law bender, I prefer. Nah. Nah. I just choose to take the system and modify it. Prove I'm not a criminal. I'm going to teach you all how to find drug dens. Let's do that. All right, so rule number 1. If you want to find the easiest way to find drugs, go to the city, obviously. Second, grassy lawns. Now, not every city has these, but banks love them. Banks, specifically I'm not going to say the name in case I get in trouble. But a very, very popular bank, because I used to landscape for these people, and they were very stingy. They love their landscaping. They love it so much. They got the little bushes here, got the little bushes in the front. Like, literally, these banks... Let's go bank. These banks, like, literally, it's like their land is literally like 90% landscaping and 10% actual bank. So no wonder drug dealers are using it all the time, because the banks ain't using it. But anyways, so what you're looking for are technically three areas, really. There's what I call the comb over, the fence lip, and what was the last one? Comb over, fence lip. I just had it. What was it? The bush. Yeah. Comb over the fence. So let me see. Fence. The bush. And the tree. So there's a few options for you to find drugs, all right? So, the comb over is the most well camouflaged, but usually seem to have the biggest hauls. So, the comb over is where, when you're landscaping, for instance, when you're mowing lawns, you cut the grass. So this is the grass down here. Sometimes drug people will dig holes in the grass, like no more than like a foot, like half a foot, like wide. And then they'll take the grass and they'll bend it down. This prevents me, the landscaper, from cutting this grass, which allows it to keep growing until eventually your little drug den Let's do... That's a terrible pipe. The little drug den here is covered with grass. So, what you're looking for are indents like this, where the grass folds in on itself. And there is a decent chance you will get a pipe. So, the common drops are pipes and needles. But occasionally, you'll get a super rare drop of blowtorches. Okay, next one. Let me get the music going again. Very quiet. Alright, next is, let's see, that's that one, so check. Okay, so the fence. So the fence ones are probably the easiest to see. So around the property, there's always a fence. They really like having them slightly elevated above the ground. So if you look, so if we draw a fence here, you know, that between the posts, there are either, there's two sections they like to hide it. It's either in the post, because these have a little, so posts, I'm running out of space. Well, I haven't, hold on. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Now we can do more colors. Okay. So fences have these little nooks right here that's on the inside. So if you look right here, there's a decent chance you'll find something. You're gonna want to look for it though. So, because usually these are held down, and this will be sealed. You're gonna be looking for one where it's slightly at an angle, where either the fence was in place properly, or it was specifically pushed up to put something inside it and down. So that's area number one. Number two, right underneath it. Like they'll, depending, it kind of depends. If it's like a concrete one where they have like a concrete base, you're not really gonna find anything there, obviously. But if it's a dirt one, a grass one, they really like the middle. So that's the fence. Okay, next up, bushes. Bushes, like, because some of the most obvious ones, as in like, obvious as in it's one of the first places they think to hide them. So what I've found is that usually you're looking for a bush that is away from obvious eyes. So if I redraw the bank schematic real quick, so this is the bank, then this is the lawns. You're gonna find most drugs in this section. Because this is traffic, they like corners, and this is away from everyone. Now then, bushes. What I've tend to see is in cities, in parking lots, they have, you know, some parking. They have these thin strips of bushes. These are where you're gonna probably find them most likely. And then the more secluded these are, the higher the chance. So if you can find one where there's a connecting, so for instance, there's a wall here, a wall here, and a road here going to another business, ignore everything else, check these. Because that's where that's most likely where they're gonna put them. That is the bush. Now then, the tree. The tree is Also, okay, a lot of these are very obvious when you think about them, but let's just keep it going. So the tree, you know, you have the tree going out, you got the roots. So usually right here, where the roots meet, the tree has like a little cavity. And you can find needles, needles and knives, really. I think that's what I've mostly found here. Like comb over is the diamond of drug dens, of drug drops, because that's where I got like my. Where's my drug blowtorch? Around here somewhere. Yeah, I kept one of them because it was like a really nice blowtorch. Yeah, look for comb overs for the nice stuff. Okay, I hit you all with a lot of information. Any questions? Good, because it's gonna be a pop quiz on this later. Let's see. What other things have I learned? Oh, yeah. Here's one. So whenever I found needles, I always destroyed them. Do not do this. So what I'd usually do is say, this is a dumpster enclosure. This is the dumpster. This is me. Being a good Samaritan and destroying the devil's thorn. Jacked. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the easiest and safest way to destroy a drug needle is to bend the needle, and it's completely unusable because if they try to straighten it, the hole is so tiny in a needle, any bend in that crinks it off. And if you do that at a 90 degree, like, yeah, it's completely unusable. That's the smart way to do it. Here's how you do it wrong. You take a rock and you bash it. You want to know? And the reason... Hold on, let's open this up to the class. Can anyone tell me why you don't bash the middle of a syringe with a rock that has unknown chemicals in it? Come on, don't be shy. There's no wrong answers. Yeah, that's right, Cole. They go everywhere. Specifically, all over your arm. And now there's shards of glass, covered with said chemical, flying all over the place. Yeah, that was a mistake. And I was too embarrassed, the fact that I just shouted that all over my arm, that I didn't go wash it off. Because I did not want to tell my coworker, Julio, who would have never let me live that down, that I had probably covered my arm in heroin. And I'm gonna debunk an argument real quick, because I've had people nag me for this, where they say, "Oh, that wasn't drugs. Those were probably just insulin shots." What mother effing insulin user is hiding their insulin in a grassy hole? Yeah, so I didn't get any glass, but like when Julio wasn't looking, I went inside and I washed my arm for like a good 10 minutes. And when I got home, I showered for like an hour because I'm like, I am not taking any chances. That got literally all over me. But yeah, going back, like, I have told, like, people, like, no, don't worry, it's just insulin. Like, again, who the heck is hiding insulin in holes in the ground, in trees, inside fences? Like, why? Who is doing that? Like, do EpiPen users do this too? Like, they're like, oh no, I have a peanut allergy. Let me run to, like, Wells Fargo real quick, dig up my stash, and just... Whew, good thing I keep this here. Like, who stores their insulin there? Yeah, no, it's drugs. I refuse to believe it's anything but drugs being stored in these hideouts. Also, just fun fact, fun little fact with Julio. Very first conversation I ever had with him, he pulled a knife on me. Yeah, but he's cool. Cause like again, cause he picked me up from this was my first job, like my first real job. I had out of high school, and my dad's friend is friends with my landscaper boss, and so that's how I got the job super quick. And he's like, okay, the guy named Julio is gonna come and pick you up in a red truck. Get in the truck. I'm like, okay. And I get in, and he's like, well, what's your name, my friend? Oh, I say my name, and he's like, I'm Julio. Are you a racist? And then he just pulls a knife on me. I'm like, no, I'm not racist. He's like, good. I would have cut you if you were. And then he puts his knife away. Like, yeah, he would do that a lot. Like, anytime I'm like, he's like, you want a bite of my burrito, friend? I'm like, no thanks, I brought my own sandwich. You don't like Mexican food? Are you racist? But he'd say it in the most stone cold way. And he'd flick out his knife. I'm like, no, I'm not racist. I made my lunch, so I'm going to eat my lunch. Yeah, but it was freaking hilarious when I convinced my best friend Landon to get the job with me, and he got paired up permanently with Julio, and I got put in charge of my own crew. That was fun. No, actually, no. Funny that my first day, because I wasn't really privy to him making this as a joke, I was kind of like, okay, that was kind of terrifying that he pulled a knife out on me. But later on, while we're doing a job, he's like, well, when we're leaving a job, he's like, all right, we're gonna do something illegal real quick. I'm like, what? And he's like, we're gonna leave work and we're gonna go pick up some tires for my cousin. I'm like, you have a knife and you're the one driving the truck and trailer, so I literally cannot say no to this. Okay, so we go pick up the tires, and then we go, and yeah, our boss never knew that we spent like an hour just doing his chores. We're doing his chores basically. Yeah, but that's also not like the weirdest other thing, because like day one after I worked with Julio, my other boss, they're brothers, the two bosses, the other brother, he comes, picks me up, and he takes me to his house. And he's like, here's my garden beds. I need you to build them. What? He's like, yeah, good luck. And then he leaves. And so I just have to figure out how to make grow beds. He kind of had the basis of it, but I'm just, okay, I guess I'll stack some wood. I'll put some landscape material in here. Don't know what I'm doing. No one told me. So yeah, that was my first day of landscaping. But overall, one would work for them again. Like, they had their rough spots. Sean was literally a human incapable of sleep. So he would try to get me to work till midnight multiple times. And keep in mind, landscaping from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. That was usually my work schedule, was 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I made bank in overtime. Like, each paycheck I got was like $2,500. So, worth it. And, I got muscle from that. I got a nice tan. I got more confidence in myself. So, it was overall pretty good. But, oh my gosh, I need to talk about this. So, as I may have alluded to with my ability to find drug stashes, and also drug drops, because I also did that in high school too. I did intercept drug money. Which, hey, free money. But anyways, I was known... Let me draw myself here again. I was known as the good luck charm of the crew. Because because I always found stuff. I found drugs, I found an entire set of Blue Bloods DVD collections in the bushes. So I find a lot of stuff while I'm working. And it seems I have an area of effect where other co-workers would try to work near me to find stuff. And it fecking worked. Julio, let me give him a knife so you can tell which one he is. Julio was complaining to me one day, saying that he thought he deserved more money, and he honestly did. With how much work he did, he deserved way more money. But he's like, I can never find money. I'm like, hey, just look in the bushes, because that's where I find all my tips. And because I find money quite often. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, sure you do, pal. Like, all right, friend, sure you do. The day he says that, we're trimming a bush, and he finds a crisp $50 bill just in the bush. And now he's very happy. And he very much likes me working with him. My other boss, he firmly believes, he's skeptical in fact. He thinks I'm fibbing, that I find money all the time. He says, well, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I have never found a single dollar on the ground. I'm like, all right, bet. Do you want to know what happened? Later that day, we are working in the corner of one of the banks, and we're digging up a ton of dirt. And he's working over here. I'm over here with my friend Landon, and we're digging. We're doing our job. I really hope the audio doesn't get cut out of this, because I'm doing a lot of story here. And I'd love to re-upload all this to YouTube, because this is freaking hilarious. We're all working here. Let's give us shovels. We're digging our holes. We're talking. And keep in mind, he's in the area of effect. I'm giving him a buff. He bends down next to me, and he pulls out a crisp $20 bill right out of the dirt. Right there. Okay. Next up the list, Chandler. He's a guy who keeps leaving and coming depending on his school schedule. So let's give him a school hat. Little tassels. Okay. He comes and goes depending on his semesters. We're working. So he's on the rideable mower. He's up here on the rideable mower. I'm over here trimming the bush, trimming the hedge, as you do. So let me give my little scissors. And he's coming by, and it's very loud, just me. And then I hear him cut the engine real quick, and I look over. He's like, "Oh, what's that?" And he looks, and in front of him is a crisp $5 bill. So he's now very happy. We had 2 new hires at this point that he was training. he tells them his luck by being next to me. So these two guys then flank me, and they start trimming the bushes next to me. Unfortunately, they were temps. They were not dedicated to the art of landscaping, so they didn't get blessed with my miracles. Okay, and then here's the thing. My last day landscaping. I'm about to head off for college. I've saved up my money for college, and I'm heading out. I am literally working the very last bank. I am, like, this is my last job. We're doing our final cleanup. I'm going to go get my diploma. All those who I have worked with are waving and cheering me on because I've made them a tidy sum of money just by being in my presence. And I'm slightly sad to see them go. And I kid you not, as it's like the last 10 fecking minutes of my job with them, I'm cleaning one more bush. Do you want to know what I pulled out of this bush? A crisp, unwrinkled $100 bill. So I'm pretty sure I have superpowers. Like, I legitimately think at this point, through the scientific method, I have conducted research over this over the course of 2 years. This is, I just think, evidence of it. Where I just affect people's ability to find stuff. I'm starting to think maybe I should be a crime investigator or something. Or like a missing persons detective. I should just be a detective at this point. Specifically in like missing persons. Any questions? Ah, my throat is dry from that. Let's see. Do I have any other stories from this? Let's see. This is one other story I have with Julio. So we're working this one bank multiple times each week, as we always do. And it's like a U-shaped parking lot. So here's the bank. And we notice this New Yorker guy parks here every day. And he pops his hood open. Back of his car open. And I'm over here, you know, trimming the edges as I do, and Julio's over here doing his own thing, and this guy keeps giving me the look. And I, as an introvert, do not know what to do when a grown man is giving me the look. And eventually, he crosses his arms, and he waves me over to him. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be a story, so I waddle on over to him. And in a very, like, you know, Boston, New Yorker accent, I'm going to try to do it. He crosses his arms and he's like, you like baseball? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, I got baseball caps. You want a baseball cap? I'm like, not really. Well, here, let me give you a deal. And he pulls out a few of these baseball hats. And I'm just kind of like, what the feck is going on right now? As this guy starts giving me his whole spiel about, like, yeah, I'm a traveling salesman of merchandise. Like, I go all over and I sell it to people just like you. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. He's like, yeah, so I got this Broncos hat. You know what? Usually these things, they're like $50. I'll sell it to you for 20. And And I'm like, that's a deal! So I give him $20 for the cheapest fecking hat I've ever owned. This thing felt like crap. And I don't even like the Broncos. I don't like baseball. And I walked away knowing that I don't like either of these, but now I have this new hat. And now I can't go up to him and say, hey, I'm an idiot. You did your New Yorker witchcraft on me, and you took my 20. So, I just ignore him. I go back to the bushes. A day passes. Well, a week passes. We go back and he's still there. I'm trimming the hedges, doing me. He's giving me the looks. He's looking all over me, looking me up and down. He's sizing my wallet. He knows I got another 20 in there for lunch. Well, guess what, bub? I've learned your methods. I will not fall to them. So I ignore him. I look the other way. I huff and I say, not today, New York Satan. I will not be tempted by your Bronco merchandise. 20 minutes go by, and I see Julio and him are having a very hushed conversation. Talking. Eventually, he finally leaves. He takes his wares. Jazargo takes his wares, and he leaves, probably to sell them in Skyrim. Julio goes up to me afterwards and it's like, hey, that guy was pretty weird, right? I was like, yeah, just so you know, all that stuff he was trying to sell you is stolen, and if he tries to sell you a gun like he sold me, don't buy it. And I have never been so insulted in my life. Because this guy looked at me, and he said, you know what this guy wants? He needs a Broncos baseball hat. He didn't offer me a single illegal contraband item. Like, not any, illegal firearms, not any switchblades, or substances, nothing. He just said, oh, look at this little Boy Scout, let's get him a hat. Sure, I would have said no, but I would have liked to have been offered, at least, give me some street cred, say, hey, do you want, maybe, a used Glock or something? Even say, it's broken. Give me something so I can at least feel proud about myself that you thought, I don't know, I ruled the streets or something, instead of oh yeah, give him a bright orange Bronco. Let's give him a pretty orange hat with a horsey on it. Yeah, no, my ego was hurt that day. So, moral of the story, never trust a traveling New Yorker. If you find a wild New Yorker outside their city, call animal control to have them take them back. They're like an invasive species. They need to just stay in New York. Unless they offer you firearms or other substances. Am I going to get in trouble on Twitch for explaining all this? Hopefully not. Any questions? Alright. Well, my throat hurts. Let me move the camera back to my main monitor, and same with the microphone. Whew. Alright, well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'll be off for the night. Bye.
Sucker tried to play me, but you never paid me, never. Oh no, you didn't. Payback is a coming, you will be running forever. Oh no, you didn't. Until I get my vengeance, I will never end this mayhem. Oh no, you didn't. I'm a mercenary, you ain't got a prayer, you owe me. Oh,